Welcome to Foster the Podcast.
Is that good?
Yeah, we're doing great so far.
I saw that. I thought we're off to a good start.
Yeah.
Hey, surprise! We're back.
It's very exciting. I'm very excited.
I didn't sleep last night.
I know. It's very cute.
I stayed up all night.
Yeah. You wore your big boy blazer
I wore a blazer.
to show that you mean business.
Yeah. I was like, listen, I'm going to class it up a little bit.
Yeah, I like
It's our
it.
first show in 5 years.
Has it been 5 years?
It's been a long time.
It has been a long time.
Yeah. Welcome to the return of Foster the Podcast.
Yes.
The official podcast of comedian Justin Foster and professional life coach Kristie Marie.
It's me. It's me. It's good to be back. I'm very excited.
It's a long time coming.
Yeah.
I didn't think this was going to happen.
I know.
I really didn't.
Yeah?
I really didn't.
You thought that was it?
I'd given up. Because we tried to stop so many times.
We had.
Something's happened.
We had.
And then I was doing a show. I forgot where I was at, but I had people come to me after the show, and they were like, so we finally unfollowed Foster the Podcast because we decided that we've accepted the fact there's probably not going to be any more new episodes.
Oh, no.
And I was like, I didn't know what to tell them, but I was like, we've tried.
Yeah, we did. We did try many times.
And here we are.
The world shut down multiple times.
That is true. There was a global pandemic.
There was.
That's very true.
Yeah.
But I would like to thank our producer, Isaac Abrams.
Let me add the audience applause.
Do we have the technology for that now?
Only for me.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. Yeah,
Isaac brought us
that's fair.
back from the dead. You and Isaac, actually, by the way. I thought you were too busy.
Yeah.
Isaac was like, you guys need to bring back Foster the Podcast. And I
Yeah.
was like, Chrissy's busy. And you were like, no, I'm absolutely want to bring back.
100%.
And then
100%.
I got busy, and then now here we are.
That's all right. We
Now
did it.
Now I got nothing going on.
Yes.
To be fair, I tried to get you to co-host my podcast, and you were like,
Yeah,
"No,
but-
actually, I'd just rather bring back my own podcast."
No thanks.
We do have a very special guest for our very first episode back. A very talented actor. He writes and does sketches. Kind of model, just all around, just man about town. Nandi Sharma is our first guest.
Hi, it's good to be on in my second official podcast, so thank you for having me.
Of course.
Nice.
This is our 300 and something.
Yeah.
Let's just call it one. Let's just
Yeah.
start. This is our first episode.
Yeah, the
Hard
reboot.
reset. I can't tell you. You guys don't know. We're in if you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes, we are in a very, very nice studio right now with a producer. We got a logo in the background. Kristie and I started this podcast in 2013. I swear to God,
Yeah.
on an air mattress
Yeah.
with a cell phone in the middle
Yes.
to record.
What were you
Really?
doing on an air mattress?
That was our furniture.
That was where he lived.
Yeah, that was where I lived at the time.
Yeah. Let's be honest. That's where he lived at the time, was on an air mattress in a living room, and that's where we shot it. That's where he had our first episode.
That was before my glow up.
That was before big glow up since that first episode. We've come just has come a long way since
Hey, but
then.
every star has got that struggle story, right? Like every single story always says that.
I think I struggled on purpose. I think. There
Okay,
was,
well,
I
that's-
think. I don't think it
Yeah.
was like a. I don't think it was a purpose thing. I think I'd made some really bad choices. I wasn't grinding for my art. That's just where I ended up. Was on an air mattress
And
in
look where
North
it ended up
Hollywood.
now. There you were.
That's right.
Now
Yeah.
we're on a table and chairs.
Yeah.
And we got lights.
We do have chairs now.
Now we have chairs now, right?
Everyone has their own mic.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
amazing.
We had very, very now famous people cross-legged,
Yes.
crisscross applesauce in our bedroom
Yeah.
back then.
Yes. People who turned out to be big stars eventually.
Yeah.
Cross-legged on the floor, sharing a mic.
Leaning into a cell phone. By the way, a lot of people have sat on that chair, not this particular, but on this show that have gone to be very successful.
Really?
So, yes.
Well,
so
thank you.
it's a
Hey,
big
knock
one.
on wood, right?
A couple have died, but we are excited that you were here.
Okay, great.
Uh,
all right. Well, that's
We'll do a-
comforting too.
Less have died.
Less
have
become
died.
famous.
More
Yeah.
got
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
successful.
Stats have shown less have
Yeah.
died,
Yeah,
but more
yeah,
have
a couple.
been.
We'll do an
let's
in
say.
memoriam at the end
Yeah.
of this episode. R.I.P. to our friends. So this is amazing. I was pacing last night. I was like, what are we going to talk about? I can't believe, like, is something going to happen? And Kristie going to be like, yeah, I can't do it. I was like, and then you showed up, and I was like, it's actually happening.
Yeah.
That's the number one question I get, by the way, when I travel doing comedy. The number one question I get is like, how's Kristie? Do you still talk to Kristie?
Oh, do you tell him I spend hours bitching to her on the phone?
I'm like,
She still fixes all of my problems just off, just not on the podcast anymore.
I'm like, do you think after the podcast ended, we just went our separate ways like the Beatles?
Well, that's it.
I've talked to Kristie every single day for an hour and a half for the last 6 months. Do I still
Yeah.
talk to Kristie? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I texted Kristie more times than not about 8 a.m. Hey, is it too early for tea?
Oh my God.
My phone will ring. Justin, it is never too early for
It
tea.
is never too early for tea. I love getting into people's business way too much for it to be too early for them to tell me about their drama.
Well, I mean, he works at a restaurant that's symbolizes drama, so I'm sure he's got plenty of
That's
more
true. I do
It is
stand-up
true.
comedy.
Yep.
I bartended, sir.
The jack
Yep.
of all trades.
Yep.
He wears many hats.
Just
Many
around
hats.
Many
chaos
hats.
at all times. That is funny. I have set my life up in a way where it's just chaotic at all times.
Yeah.
But you guys have both
Yeah.
been to my place. It's when you walk in, it's very.
Very tidy. I'm very impressed.
Yeah.
And that's what we bonded about when you came over to my apartment for the first time. You were
Very
like,
clean.
wow, everything is exactly where it needs to be. And believe it or not, that's a big red flag that a lot of people see, but I think it's great.
Wait, women see that as a red flag at your place?
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Like this guy's a serial killer?
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. They think but it's like, I'm not too OCD. Like, if like, for example, phone is like right here or right there. That's fine, whatever. But like, that people for some reason think that when they walk into my apartment, it's all so squeaky clean or whatever. They think that if they move anything, it's like,
Oh, that you're going to freak out.
I'm gonna freak out. But it's like, no, I'm
Right.
like
Oh,
very,
yeah.
very chill about it, right? But I just like to keep it organized because I grew up in a household with women as well. So they taught me the value of that, making sure that it's a tidy apartment, then you have a tidy mental state. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Because everything out there is so chaotic. That's what I was telling Kristie today. When you come inside, it's got to be peaceful.
That's
clean.
that's your zone.
That's your sanctuary. Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had any. I've always had like, oh my God, your apartment's so nice. I've never had like, oh,
Must
that's
be nice.
a red flag.
Must be real nice. The moment they walk in, they're like, "Wow, the date was great, but this, I don't
Right.
know about this anymore."
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, "What?" But then
my
you gotta
gosh.
switch in that
You gotta-
charm,
You got to throw stuff on the ground
Yeah,
really
right.
fast. It's messy.
I'm now dying to know what the inside of your apartment looks like. I want to know what it is that makes the vibe make people walk in and be like, "Oh, I can't touch anything."
It smells like bleach. I'll say that.
Oh gosh! Oh, stop! It smells like a Swiffer pad. That's what it is.
There's plastic everywhere.
No.
Bathtub,
Okay.
it's weird. Very strange.
This has
Very,
been
very
great. Thank you
strange.
so much. Shall I ring the bell now?
I did have a friend over the other night, and I was doing the thing where like I kept trying to put the coaster under her Baja Blast from Taco Bell.
That's a real
It's
yes.
just like,
People don't understand. Coasters are a thing.
I know.
Use it.
But
It's not
I-
just for
Boy,
decor.
guys. Oh boy.
it's so far from where
Oh,
I
boy.
used to be.
Oh gosh.
Oh boy, guys.
It's so far from where I used to be of putting a coaster down on a table.
Yeah, same.
I take pride in that now.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want rings on my table
I'm
that I
an
got from
adult
Facebook
now.
Marketplace.
good.
Exactly.
There's a whisper of trying to control something because of the fear of the non-control of the outside, of like needing that control in your space. There is a whisper of that in the way that both of you are talking.
It's
I'll take it. That's
control.
a
trauma
light flag.
response.
It's a trauma
no
response,
doubt.
yeah.
I'm secure enough to admit
Yeah.
that. It's
Yeah.
definitely a trauma
Yeah.
response.
It's a light flag. It's fine.
It's a light flag.
Yeah, it's a light flag.
I'll do this the other day though. I had people over, I had a couple of people over, and they did take their shoes off, and I was wildly uncomfortable, but I didn't say anything. And I
Okay.
think that's progress.
You know what, dude? We're on the same boat.
Right.
I'm doing the same exact thing.
I'm looking at their shoes. I'm like, I'm not gonna say anything.
Deep breath. This is why we meditate 20 times a day, 20 minutes.
20
per
minutes a
day.
day. Exactly. Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah.
That's
prepares
why
us.
you meditate
It
20
prepares
minutes a
us
day.
for moments like that.
Right.
So people can leave their shoes on in your house.
Absolutely.
I'll do the coaster. I will control the coaster, but shoes are all right.
Okay.
Even though it drives me
I
insane.
know. I like start itching right now.
Yeah,
Think
you're
about
like-
it.
But don't you, Justin? Don't you have a dog?
Yeah, my dog doesn't shed.
But the feet
feet,
touch
I
the
wipe his
ground.
feet
You wipe
after-
his feet every time you take him out.
I mean, a lot. I mean, we live in West Hollywood. I don't want like raw dog
Because you can't
West
do,
Hollywood paws
You
on the
can't do
floor.
the shoe rule and have a dog and be like, my dog is cool, and just like let him on the bed.
That's
and
true.
stuff.
Very good point.
That is true. Yeah, that is
Yeah,
true.
but that's what makes it insanity as opposed to like rooted in logic, right? Is the fact that it's like you have a very specific set of like your own rules that
Yeah.
make it normal.
Yeah.
It's like the dog's okay for some wild reason,
Right.
but like a person with their shoes on, like that clearly is
Right.
something
Like-
that's going to stress me out.
Your friends the other night at my apartment were driving me absolutely. Can I tell this story?
I mean, you could tell they're not my friends, but yeah, go for it.
Are they ever gonna watch this? Who
I
cares?
actually, you know what? I'm still in touch with one of them. Believe
Oh,
it or
good.
not.
We'll send this to her because. So, backstory: Nandi and I went out the other night, and Nandi's newly single.
Okay.
Right. Nandi is, you know, you can see he's a very handsome man and charming guy, and met this woman and was going to take her out. They're from Canada, right? If I'm not mistaken, two women from
somewhere there.
Three women from Canada, but she had two friends.
Okay.
And so he needed two other guys, right? So he pulled in Lawrence, who is their age,
Okay.
and for some reason I was the third guy who was probably double their age.
Okay.
He was like, Justin, you got to come to Jones with us. You've got one. Lawrence has got one. I need you to like, blah, blah, blah. I was like,
Okay.
all right, I'm just going to eat and have a good time.
Okay, wait, hold on, time out.
Yes.
Breaking that story. I do believe that all those girls were probably between 23 to 26.
Right. I am 44.
And Lawrence is 35.
Lawrence is 35?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, well, he doesn't look it.
Oh, yeah, he looks great.
I look 97.
I like
so,
the clarification that the girls are of age, but
Yeah,
just
of course.
that you are old,
are you
and
thinking,
it's not
you
that
think
the
we went out
women are
with
young.
15-year-olds the
I was
other night?
I just like that he felt the need to clarify.
I needed to
He's
clarify
like,
that. First
it's
episode back,
2020,
you know what I mean? It's just got it.
They
Thank
were
you.
grown
Lots
women.
of people out there,
I was
you know?
like, I'm still trying to have a career. I don't know about you guys.
They were grown women. You are old. They are not young. Just so
So I don't know what
Perfect.
happened.
I
The
like it.
shift. Your girl was cool. My girl was cool. Whatever. The girl I was hanging out with was fine. I was just myself, right?
Okay.
I was like, I have nothing to lose. This chick's 25 years old. I'm just
Okay.
whatever. And for some reason, there was a shift, and she was sitting next to me, and we were like having a nice conversation. Everything was fine.
okay.
The third
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
goes from 0 to like 3,000
In what way?
shots.
Oh, okay.
Shots.
Okay. She
Which
came to
I
party.
don't think is a bad thing, right? The thing is, like, you know, we work at the restaurant, so we meet them at the restaurant. They're already
Right.
having a couple of drinks. It's
Sure.
fine, whatever, right? I think where it became problematic is that when we moved to the different bar, you know, Lawrence was talking to the third woman in the group, and she was just like, hey, we should just take some shots. Like, just rip one shot out, just to kind of like loosen up. And I respect that. It's like,
Sure.
all right, cool, you're nervous, whatever.
The problem was she kept sneaking to the bar to do
Yeah.
shots away from the table.
Yeah. Sneaking's rough.
And then
That's
came
a
back-
problem.
Sneaking's rough.
That's a problem.
And then
Speaking
came back
of-
as a different person.
Okay.
So he yes is mad at her friend for eating calamari. It was a whole thing.
Yeah,
so
it was.
he goes off.
Okay.
So now we're stuck with the two.
Yeah.
Right. And they want to get weed, so we're driving around LA trying to find a trying a 24-hour weed shop, which doesn't
Okay.
exist apparently.
Okay.
Their
mean-
phones are dead.
Okay.
They have a hotel in downtown Los Angeles.
Okay.
And their phones are dead. So there's no Uber.
Boy,
They're
this
just
is
raw.
really
Gets
going
worse
off
and
the
worse, yeah.
rails.
They're just raw walking around West Hollywood with Lawrence and I, who are two good dudes, right? Like probably the nicest guys you're gonna find at that hour
Yes.
in West
I
Hollywood.
1000%
Yes.
agree with that.
Right,
yes.
you know,
Yes.
Lawrence, you know, has got
Yes.
sisters. You know, I was raised by my right. We're gonna
Yeah.
put them in danger.
Okay.
So I say, listen, ladies, I am 3-minute walk from this restaurant. You can go charge your phones, and then you can call an Uber, right?
Okay.
Great. The one I was babysitting, totally fine. Great.
Yeah.
She's a responsible one. The other one's fallen in bushes. She's screaming. She's mad because she can't find her vape. Her vape's in her bra the whole time.
Whole time. We were outside the
I'm
restaurant
gonna
for
break the bell in
solid
the first
15
episode.
minutes.
It's a,
Oh, no, we were outside the restaurant for 15 minutes, and she was yelling at both her friends,
Right.
saying, like, where's my vape? And blaming us that we stole her vape, when really it was in her bra the entire
Tucked in her bra the whole time.
Was the vape charged?
It was the
No,
only thing
it
that
was
was
dead.
charged.
No, it
Oh,
was
it
dead. It
Yeah.
was dead.
No, nothing was charged on these women.
nothing.
It'd be better if if the vape was charged and the phone was dead. But we needed to ring the bell for dead phones.
Dead
too.
phone
There's a
for
foot-
sure.
there
Dead
you go.
vape.
That's a
dead
big one.
phone,
Falling in
dead
bushes.
vape, falling in the bushes.
And Lawrence, for context of the story, is a black man, and he's carrying this drunk white woman.
okay.
And he's freaking out. He goes, I don't want anybody to, you know what I mean?
Yes.
He's
Yes.
like, I don't want people to see this.
Yes.
You know, he's picking her up. She's falling down. He's got her like, he's like, I'm wildly uncomfortable with
Yes.
this. I
Yes.
get him up into my place. They're disrespectful to my dog. She's she's mad because
Not
she
the
can't find
dog.
her friend that went off with you. She doesn't know where she's at. She wants to know
my
where the
Lord.
hell she's at. I'm offering them LaCroix. You know, I'm like trying to get them situated.
I'm offering him.
I'm being a
LaCroix.
gentleman, and finally I had had enough, and I was so mad that I got out a piece of paper and I made her write me a handwritten apology, which I now have framed.
You have it framed?
I framed it.
You
the
framed
other-
it?
I framed it.
Yes. Oh,
Framed
my
it.
God. I'm so happy to hear that.
And this is what it says. If you go to I don't know if you saw it in my bathroom today. It's hanging above the towel
I
rack.
did not.
It says, and I quote, "On behalf of everyone, I'm sorry for the disrespect and unappreciativeness that was shown to you," but it's spelled Sean. "We truly appreciate everything you've done for us, XOXO," and then whatever name that is.
Oh my goodness gracious. That is a crazy story. I have a couple of questions.
Great.
First of all, if the girls were younger, it would make more sense because 26 is a little up there to be in bushes.
Yeah.
I'm not one to judge. I was an in the bushes girl, so I get it. Second of all, why is it something that people still do that if you're going out with 3 women, you have to pair up like you're going to cotillion? Is that like a rule of dating nowadays? I've been married a long time.
It's not a rule, but I just know that it's like just having wingmen, right? Like I just don't want to have the responsibility to entertain all 3 people at the same time because I don't think I have enough.
It's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And I get in my own head about that.
I gotcha. And if you hadn't have had the backup, who's going to carry all these broads down the street? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Oh,
You
yeah,
would have
that-
been on
Charge
your
their vapes.
own
But mind you,
with that mess.
when I met them at the restaurant, they were very like just social, like just I hate to say it, just like normal, I guess.
Right,
Just like
right.
not
You can say
very
normal.
put together.
Yeah,
Not
you
that
can say
crazy, right?
you can
But
say that
then
on
once
this
we
show.
left and we went to this different bar, they just went
all
out of
fell
there.
apart.
Well, not all. I think it was literally just one. It was
two
just
were
one.
great.
2 were great.
One went to
was
a
just-
different place.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a very
You know-
Okay.
and it wasn't even just her sneaking off to the bar. Like she just kept like anytime the waitress would come over, she'd be like, "Yeah, I'll just get another round of shots, another round."
When a chick does this, you know it's
Yeah,
going to be a
it's
long
like
night.
Thor. It's like he's like another. I was like, calm down.
Were they all here on vacation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
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 And it was
she
like
was in a
their-
different mode.
It was her second to last night in town. I guess they were
Okay.
just, and it was her birthday actually.
Yeah.
So that
I liked the girl who I got paired up with.
She was
We actually
sweet.
had a
I like the
nice.
girl I was paired up with.
Yeah,
She was great.
Yeah, Lawrence got the short end of the stick on that one, but we charged their phones, we charged their vapes. I made her write me an apology, and we sent them on their way.
Okay.
Did you let them vape in the apartment?
Vaping in my apartment's okay. Oh, yeah, vaping's okay.
I'm cool with that too.
Yeah,
actually.
vaping's all right.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah. Why? Why is that bad?
I don't know. It just makes me want to smoke right now.
Oh,
in here.
you could vape in here. But you don't normally go for young. You normally like older girls, right? Women, excuse me.
Yeah. I do, and it's because like I have 2 older sisters. One's 38, the other one's 36. So I've always just been around older people, and so I don't know what it is. I think it's just like the vibe I give off because a lot of people, not even just from physical aspect, like just when I have conversation with them, they think I'm just a lot older, and so it just kind of happens naturally. But in that moment, I mean, I just kind of go off the vibe, and I guess the girl I was talking to, she was just able to hold very emotionally intelligent conversations, and she was very attractive, and she just happened to be 24, 25, and so it's like,
Yeah.
it just kind of worked out.
You said you lost your virginity to. How old was she?
Well, that's my virginity?
Yeah.
I was in high school. No, it was like
Oh,
my
I-
first high school
Oh,
girlfriend.
I thought you said you like hooked up with someone who was like.
I did. The oldest, the oldest woman I've ever hooked up with. I was 22, and she was good grief, she was 64. Yeah.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, she was 64.
Okay. So how'd that happen?
Well, it was just we were at a bar.
She was
and
from Canada.
She was not from
Say
Canada.
again how old you were again?
I was 22.
You were 22.
Yep.
Okay. And you were at a bar.
I was at a bar.
Okay.
With just some like friends at the time, and it was just like a nice little casual bar, and it was like kind of close to closing time, and I'm just at the bar ordering.
Wait, she was out past almost closing time?
It was like probably close to like 12:30.
Wow, I'm
Right,
impressed.
12:30.
Okay.
Oh, stop it. She was fine, but no, it was great. I mean, her name.
No, you're not gonna say
figured-
that.
Great, perfect. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I was gonna make it up.
Okay.
But yeah, no, we
Right.
were at the bar, and I was just ordering like a seltzer for myself, and I saw that she was with her friend, but she wanted to still keep partying, so I was just like, oh, here's my group, and next thing you know, we were just having a conversation, and she knew how young I was. She was just like, you're like old enough to be my grandson, blah 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 blah. blah. I was like, I get it, it's fine. But it was just a fun conversation, and then one thing led to another, and we ended up having a very fun night. That was it. And
Young enough to be my grandson leading to sex is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, look, am I gonna judge? Do I think she's probably got some issues? Probably, but I'm not here to judge, right? I just had a great
crazy.
time. Thanks for putting me on the spot.
That is a wild
Really
opening
appreciate
line.
that.
You know who you remind me of.
Yeah, I mean, my grandson. Ooh,
Oh my god, I've never.
That, mind you, I don't
never-
go
That's
That
not
was
a
like the
normal thing
last-
for you.
that-
Yeah,
first and last time.
Anomaly.
You know what I mean? It was just, it could just happen.
yeah.
Do I regret it? Absolutely not.
No,
actually.
you
the
can't regret
heart
that.
wants what the heart wants. You know what I mean?
Her heart couldn't handle it.
Live
but
long.
That was the last we saw of Bertha. I don't think I've gone my age, so that's good.
Really?
I don't think so.
What's your? Do you have like a certain?
Usually
type
about 10 years younger.
10 years
Yeah,
younger?
but Christy's trying to change that.
Why?
Because if something doesn't work, you got to try something different. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? If something repeatedly doesn't work, you've got to kind of narrow down exactly what it is that's not working and try something different.
Well, so when
Usually it's me that's not working. I'm
well,
usually
so
the
say
problem.
when it's not working, what do you mean by that? Like, is it just like
No, she's saying like if I've dated younger multiple times, now it's time to try age appropriate or older or 60 something.
And if there's a constant issue of like, if it's always like I wish if the issue is like you're constantly saying I wish someone was more mature, then maybe date someone older. If you're saying I wish, not that this is all to you, but I'm just saying if you always have the same issue of I wish someone was more motivated, maybe find someone with a different type of job. If you're saying I wish someone was always this thing, then you've got to kind of readjust to find where you're going to find that particular thing that it is that you're looking for.
Right.
Break a pattern, try something new.
Right. That actually makes a lot of sense. See, this is where it throws me off because the maturity when people bring in age, like whenever I'm having a conversation, again, it tends to be with older women. Conversation's going great until they ask me that question. It's like, hey, how old are you? And when I tell them like, oh, I'm like 26, they're like, oh my God, you're such a baby. You have so much life to live. And I agree with that. But also it's like, why does that change their perception of me? And why do they assume that I don't have maturity?
Because it's the opposite for guys. You're like 26, like, yeah, okay.
I met so many people in their like late 30s who are just like, who act like they're still 21 years old.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So, but it's like, why does age have to have such a, like, that much importance on it?
I think they wouldn't be talking to you if they didn't think you were mature. That's why the conversation's happening, right? The attraction's there because they find you to be a mature person and they're able to have those mature conversations with you. But when they say, I presume that when they say that like there's so much life left to live, it's when you're trying to partner with someone and when you're thinking about settling down or moving in together or just having certain life experiences that maybe they're thinking that almost like more of like a checklist, or how many things have you done in your life, or has this person experienced enough to want to be in this particular lane with me? Maybe that's the thing that's breaking them away from you, as opposed to you being mature, which they already know that you are.
So then here's another follow-up question, because
Yeah.
now I'm curious. So in the moment, like, do you think that if they were to, because I understand the perspective now, in that moment, is it smart to just say, all right, cool, I'm going to walk away from this because you already feel that disconnect because our journeys are a little bit on different timelines, I guess? Or would it be worth it just to kind of explore and see, hey, maybe we might be able to meet on that same timeline if we just continue to work through it? Does that make sense?
I mean, my answer is to roll with it, right? If they're going to think that you're like, I'm 26, and then you start vaping and talking about TikTok, you know what I mean? So you can prove them wrong, be like, hey, I'm 26, but I'm also, you know.
Or ask them what about that is a problem for you. Maybe get more insight to see if there is a match there. I think sticking around and getting more information is fine. I think it matters most like where you're coming from and what your expectation is of the other person. If you move forward realizing like, hey, this might not be the best fit, but let's see what is there because I'm interested in you, and whatever happens, then that's great. But if you're going to pour a bunch of, I never think it's good to be in a situation where you're trying to convince another person that you're right for them, because it takes away the whole perspective of you figuring out if that person's right for you. It's all like, I can convince you, and sometimes you don't hear the things that you need to hear to see if the other person's your match at the same time.
I know.
That was really good. I wish
know.
there was a bell that was like,
There's a good bell as well.
yeah,
It could be a good well.
There you go. That's pretty good.
That's why I basically wanted to start this podcast back up, because I have so many friends who need fixing. So I just bring them for Kristie.
Yep, this is it. This is free therapy right now.
Would it ever be okay for him to lie? Like say,
never
how,
okay to lie.
how old do you think I am?
It's
And
never
absolutely
okay.
not.
No, it's
Really?
never okay to lie.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely
Never. That's one
Ring
thing
the
we've
bell on
learned.
that one.
That's one thing we've learned is you never lie.
Yep.
Even if
You
you
never
lie
lie.
and get a year in, eventually, if this ends up being the person, you're going to have to tell them the truth, and then they will know that you have lied to them about that big thing in the very beginning.
You get a fake ID that says you're older.
right, just forever.
All right, well, so that segues me into the thing that we were talking about earlier, which is the like sort of I don't know if I can say this on YouTube, the SE, you know, that word, and then love addiction, right? Which to me is like more of the to me, the love addiction is the main part of that. I don't know how you identify, but the main component of that is the love addiction, right? Where you meet someone and you like put the fantasy on this person, right? And we've talked about this before. You're like, okay, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, how do I convince you that you should date me, that I'm worthy, blah, 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 blah. And what Kristie's always saying is like, do you want to date them? Like, ask questions and find out about them. Like, the only requirement isn't that they're pretty and they think that you're funny. You know what I mean? Or whatever.
Yeah.
It's got to be like,
Yeah. When it gets so hyped up that all your energy is like, are they going to call? Are they thinking about me? Do they think I'm cool? Are they going to like it if I do this? Are they going to like it when I do that? All that noise, like I said, all that noise takes out any space to be like, do we have the same values? Like, is this someone who I think is funny? Do I like them? Do I feel like calling them? Or do I just want to call them to see if they're going to answer? Or, you know, like whatever that kind of
when
thing
you get that
is.
hit when they text and you're like, oh, okay.
Oh, it settles my anxiety on so many different
When you
levels.
check the phone, you're like, okay, they haven't responded. And then they respond, and you go, okay, all right, I can have breakfast now.
And I know I'm so aware of when I lie to myself. Whenever I check my phone, it's like, oh, I was just checking to see if someone else messaged. Like, in the back of my head, I was like, oh, gosh, he didn't text me back yet. This is the worst day of my life. And it drains me. Like, I don't know about you, man. I just get so physically and emotionally exhausted just by constantly checking my phone and just waiting to see, will this person message me back? Does this person still feel the same way about me?
The person probably sucks.
Yeah.
Or they're meant for somebody else.
Exactly.
Or
But you
they're
know what I mean.
great and you're a mess.
But there's a lot of stuff that we ignore in that beginning when you have, because I never thought I was a love addict, right? I always thought I've been told my entire life I was an avoided addict. You avoid, you avoid, you avoid. And I had a therapist recently who was like, oh no, that is and you too. Like, absolutely, that's not true.
Yeah.
You avoid conflict. You shut down when there's conflict and there's chaos, and you know, you don't like, you know, you avoid that, and you sort of push people away when it gets a little, you know, intense and you feel sort of enmeshed or smothered. But the love addiction part, you for sure have.
The love addiction, like I'm also a love addict too, but I'm also the other addict, the SE one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm old though. I don't have that.
So I found out I was an SE addict when I was like, I was 22 or 23 when I hit rock bottom, like after college and stuff. Like, I just went through like a serious mental health journey, and you know, it's like, I'm really grateful to be in recovery mode. But I do believe the love addiction piece comes from just watching Bollywood movies on repeat. Because in Bollywood movies, you know, they have like those musical pieces, and like the guy sees the girl from afar, knows nothing, 0% of who this person is.
Right.
But they see him from afar, beautiful, birds are flying, and it's like slow motion, right? So like at a very early age, I thought that that's what love is supposed to look like, you know?
Interesting.
And so from first grade up until like in college, basically, you know, every time I saw a very pretty girl, it's just like my heart started to sing. It's like, this is the girl of my dreams. When really it's like I knew nothing about her values. I didn't even know what I truly wanted. I just thought that this is what I saw on TV, and therefore this is how life should be like for me.
See, I was a kid and I watched Pretty Woman. That's why I only date hookers now, so.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But no, that is. I read an article the other day. It was like, if you meet somebody from across the room and your eyes lock and it's instant attraction, like, run away immediately.
Really?
Like, run away.
I disagree.
Really? If you have what we have, you still disagree?
I do. I think even in that position, I want to be careful how I say
Yeah, I was
this.
gonna say, there you go. Just take a pause, reflect.
I want to be careful how I say
Here we go.
this. I think that the goal should be to learn the tools to manage, right? Because I'm a different kind of addict, a sober alcoholic. I think that learning the tools to be self-aware and learning the tools to calm yourself down and learning the tools to like be in control of yourself, like that kind of thing, be aware of the thoughts that are coming up, ask for help when those thoughts are coming up. Like, it's very chemical. I think they all kind of run together. But I think that any person that you are attracted to, those feelings are gonna come. So learning to be uncomfortable and not act on your discomfort is like one of the first skills, right? With any like addiction, it's like you're always gonna crave that thing. How do you find a way to feel uncomfortable and not do the thing that you want to do, not dive into that relationship, not take that drink, not take that drug, whatever the addiction is? How do I feel the things that I'm inevitably gonna feel, but not do the thing that I normally do? So sometimes having those feelings for someone is, if you are able to do it in a safe way and you have the support and you have someone to reach out to and you've done enough work to get to that point where you have self-awareness, then you can start to engage a little bit, as long as you're checking in with somebody
Right.
and being held accountable and all of those things. But if you run every time you feel that attraction to someone, inevitably you're going to end up with someone who you don't feel drawn to.
Yeah, that's a good point. But also, it's like when you have like, you'll do the thing where I'll be like, and I'll tell you, and you'll be like, oh, okay, all right, and then later I'll be like, yeah, and you're like, yeah, there was like 12 red flags I didn't tell you about. I'm like, tell me in the beginning. Christy's my best friend. I call her with everything, and she'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, yeah, well, see where it goes. And then I'm like, yeah, this, that, and the other. She goes, yeah, oh yeah, I could have told you that. I'm like, tell me that. Tell me that.
You get one try with me. I'm going to test the waters and be like, well, do you think it's a little strange that such and such happened? And then if he goes full defensive mode of like, no, it's totally normal. This is fine. Then I'm like, okay, cool. You're not going to hear anything I say. That sounds awesome. Yeah, she sounds great. Have a good time.
Enjoy your life.
Call me tomorrow.
Yeah, because it goes against your ego at the end of the day, right? Like, that's just something that I'm practicing doing, though. I don't know if it's a good exercise.
Probably
where
not.
Like, well, you could try it. Where it's like, I think, and it goes to your point too, instead of just diving in, like, I am trying to practice with just maintaining eye contact with just like attractive women to begin with, but not acting on that either. If like the attraction's definitely going to be there in the eye. If they maintain eye contact with you and they smile, like, that's great, right?
Sure.
In the past, for me, if I saw a girl look at me and smile, it's like, okay, great. This is a sign. I would be a fool if I didn't talk to this person, because therefore, if I don't, I'm gonna miss out on that opportunity, and therefore, I failed. I feel abandoned.
Totally.
It's like all this
Yeah.
hidden, unresolved trauma
Totally.
issues that just
that's
start flaring
awesome.
up, right? But now I'm just like starting to practice where I just smile and I like kind of feel that discomfort, because like I know that pull is like, go talk to them, but really it's like, no.
They don't have
If
to.
anything, if they're interested and they really want to get to know me as well, they can also approach me. It's because it's a two-way street, not just a one-way.
Of course. And that's
know?
what we were
I
talking
love
about.
that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
100% what we were
Wisdom
talking about.
from 26-year-olds. See
There
that?
you go.
See?
Ladies,
You're an
age.
old soul.
So mature.
Age.
Get your landline and call Nandi.
9-3. No, I'm kidding. Not yet.
But that's what we were talking about. It's like, okay, well, how do I respond? And listen, I'm not actively out there like looking for anything or like go, we've talked about this before, but like having conversations or whatever, like we'll have like the, all right, well, how do I say, how do I respond? How do I send the perfect Chris, like, what about her texting you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't matter, like the thing I'm going to send to convince them that I'm awesome.
Right.
It's like, are they awesome?
Right.
Do they deserve your time?
Right.
And I forget that a lot.
I forget that because like I just never really learned how to give myself
I don't know how to do
compassion and love.
And that's what we're going to talk about in the next couple of episodes, probably the next like couple of months, is how do you cultivate that? How do you set I don't know how to set proper boundaries.
Nope.
I don't know how, and I'm learning. I've done so much work the last 6 months of how like to get it from inside and the validation from inside, but it's like, dude, my whole life has been like outside validation, being a comedian, being da-da-da-da-da-da. It's like outside. And when you take that away, I'm wildly uncomfortable.
Yeah. Uncomfortable. Like I just feel just not sad, but I just feel very like lethargic. I feel very tired. I feel like, I'm just dragging my feet throughout the day. If I don't get that instant hit from just getting that, like you said, like a text from a girl, or just like if I'm not flirting with anyone too, you know what I mean? Like that for me is just a huge problem.
But that's what I did I got out of a relationship, and for 6 months, it was no women. It was no texting, no flirting, no DMs. If we're hanging out as friends. It was just like, stay over there, stay away, right? And for a while, it was really uncomfortable, like very, very uncomfortable. Where you're just like, I need something, like I need a da-da-da-da-da, and but you sit in that uncomfortableness for long enough, and you're like, oh, I'm not gonna die.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was crazy though. Like the detoxing of just attention, from female attention, whether it just be like a casual blah 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 blah. Like it was like I was not responding to DMs.
Yeah.
I was not responding to text. And I told you there was a couple of things where I was just like, I just turned my phone off and went and hid in my bedroom.
That is a very that's impressive.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that.
There was a certain thing, I don't know if I told you. I got a thing, and I was like, oh.
He told
That's
me
all
a
bad
wild
news.
story in my apartment. I'm not gonna say the story, but man, when he told me that, I was like, "You are a madman." I don't know how you maintain control from that, but if I was in your situation, I'd be like, oh, "I mean, this is great."
I know. I
You
know.
just said, "Nope, I'm just not gonna even respond to you." Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Todd, that's self-control.
Because every breakup has been, go get attention from another woman. go sleep with another woman, go blah, 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 blah. And this one is like, let me do the opposite. Like Kristie said, it hasn't worked. So now take time, heal, grieve, like process, be alone, like take yourself on a date, like do what you like to do, right? And here's what happens when you do that. Women love you.
Oh, yeah.
When you're like, stay away from me, they're like, well, why?
Because they want the attention.
It's crazy. Yeah. I was getting messages I've never gotten in my entire life.
Yeah.
I just don't think that love, in my experience, should feel uncomfortable. It can feel intense. It can feel, I think that's the only word I'll go with. I think it can feel intense and really strong, but it shouldn't feel uncomfortable. It shouldn't go to a place of feeling fear-based. And I had a lot of love addict stuff my whole life, and it was always like that, that intensity and that hit and like all of that, and you take that as being like, oh, it's so passionate, this Romeo and Juliet thing. And then what I experienced with my husband was this very intense connection, but there was a grounding calm about it. So it was, I still felt that intensity, but it was super calming. It was, I was never questioning. There wasn't that that feeling, that tightness that you get in your chest. Something about it was very just calming and grounding and wonderful. And it was like, oh, okay, I get that small difference between those two feelings.
My last relationship was we broke up 5 months ago, and we were together for a year and a half. Before that relationship, I hadn't been in a relationship in over 6 years. And I don't think I really gave myself permission to actually understand that love can be expressed in so many different ways beyond the SE, the physical piece of it, right? And I think being this, I don't even know, I think just based on the growth that I've been having over the last few years, I was very surprised that I even said yes to be in this previous relationship of mine, just because I was so afraid of just once we get past that honeymoon phase, right? Where things are just hot and heavy, it's an intense, or, and I just thought that they were going to see a side of me that they were going to reject and see that it's not enough or not good enough and whatnot. And it was definitely posed as a struggle in our relationship for at least probably month 4 or month 5. But, bless her for having the patience to deal with me. And that's when I kind of realized, even after a breakup, the reason I ended so beautifully is because, she gave me permission to just fall in love with not just another person, but just start learning how to fall in love with myself, And I also realized that after a relationship, to really, truly be, and correct me if I'm wrong, in my honest opinion, to be successful in a relationship, you have to develop a core routine. You need to have some sort of a lifestyle established for yourself where you can kind of just learn how to just not only, because I feel if you want to show up for the other person, you have to learn how to show up for yourself, essentially. So for me, my routine consisted of meditation, journaling, reading, taking walks, working out, and stuff like that. And I was able to learn how to do that just in our relationship.
Yeah. That's what I'm that's what this whole time off for me has been learning how to bring that. How can I bring this routine that makes me calm and centered? And when I try not to get codependent in a new relationship where you're all that other stuff goes to the side. I want to spend 24 hours with you because you're awesome. And then next you're irritable and you're I haven't done anything for myself. And the person's well, why are you irritable? You're because I haven't taken care of myself because I want to hang out with you. And they're well, don't hang out with me. And you're oh, okay.
It's that simple, yeah.
Sorry.
All right. I think that is super important, is to just be, you have to be okay on your own. It's so cliche, but you have to be okay on your own to bring another person into your life because stuff goes off the rails, right? When you commit to being with another human being and living life alongside another human being, anything could go wrong. My story is wild. Me and my husband, we had infertility. We got pregnant with twins. Our twins came 3 months early. They were in the hospital forever. Oh, wow. He lost his job while the kids were in the hospital. Then COVID hit. Our son got diagnosed with autism. It's just been there's always something going on in our household. And because I chose who I chose, there has never been a period where me and him have not been working together. You know what I mean? Everything that's difficult comes from outside of our relationship. What's difficult is never what's in our relationship. So we're always able to hey, I need you to do more of this, or I need you to stop doing that. And it's okay because we're both working together for the singular outcome of whatever's outside of us, as opposed to like it being us at odds and then trying, you know, that kind of thing. But I only think that we're able to do that because we picked someone. We really took the time to see each other and observe each other and see, is this the right person for me? And we happened to actually be a match. And that was a piece that I had missed my whole life, of just like, very much like you guys are saying, like, this person finds me interesting. I need to draw them in. I need to make them be in a relationship with me. And then once the honeymoon settles, I'm like, I actually don't think I like this person. And now I'm in a 3-year relationship with them, and I don't think I like them very much. And then you have to break up, and then you're the asshole for breaking up with the person. You know what I mean? So it's that really tough thing. But I think if you're going to go through life and life gets hard, no matter what it is you go through, something's going to be hard. You just got to pick a person that is on your team and on your wavelength. It's so important to pick a person that's your right match.
We just both took a sigh at the same exact time because she said something that we both were able to relate to.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isaac, how are we on time? Is that a good way to wrap?
You're at 41 and a half.
That's
right now.
perfect for me. Yeah, I don't want to capitalize this guy's time anymore. He's got to go out and he's got to go to the nursing home and look for women. So I don't want to.
How was your
man? That's good. God.
Take it. We had a
know
nice
what?
chat.
Yeah, way to end it on a. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna high five on you on that.
I love this man. I love this man.
How was your second podcast?
Oh, it's great. I had a blast.
Was it better than the first?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
even deny
Until
it.
you said that last
Will you
piece,
cut out the right there? Thank you.
This was great. Thank you for having me. No, I'm kidding. No, this is awesome. I really appreciate you guys calling me. I mean, like I was literally doing laundry when you texted me and you're like, hey, give me a call. And they're like, hey, you want to be on a podcast? I'm like, okay, yeah. And I think the reason why I even said yes, like there was definitely hesitation and I felt uncomfortable because like it scared me. It's just like, will I have something to offer valuable to you guys? Or like, is this a good match and whatnot? Are you sure?
Yeah.
But I said yes because, again, this is like a great way to just show myself compassion and give myself grace and credit. It's like, hey, I got cool points to bring out.
A, you've got tons of stuff to offer. B, this was an amazing episode. But that's the cool thing I love about you is you're just like, yes. Right, I'm like, hey, do you want to shoot sketches? You're like, yes. You know, do you want to be on my podcast? Yeah. We went out to a roof deck bar the other night and shook our asses. You know,
that was awesome.
We're just I love it. You're just always saying yes, and you're just such a good dude, and you're so funny, and just man, you got so much value, and I'm just so happy that you were our first guest back, man. I really appreciate it.
All right, you made up for that last comment.
See, that was better.
Nursing home
That's
one?
a
Yeah, you
nice
made-
way to end the
yeah.
podcast.
That's how you.
How can people find you?
You can go on Instagram and look up at SharmaKarma98. You can go on my website, www.nandisharma.com, and you can find like my footage there, like my reel, what the work I've been, and just you'll be able to also find information on my recent short film that I directed, wrote, and starred in as well, and that's in the festival circuit. So keep an eye out for that.
Nice.
And just
When it comes out and it gets like Oscars, you'll come back on.
Yep.
And we'll do.
And I'm gonna say, hey, remember
follow-up.
that thing you said where like people come on your podcast and become successful? Hey, look at that.
Right.
We're manifesting it. guys.
Right.
That's
One
it.
of our guests wrote the #1 R-rated movie of all time. Wolverine and Deadpool.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
That's
so
right.
awesome.
So yeah,
That's
They were on
right.
this podcast.
Yeah.
We make careers there. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
That's wild.
just not ours. So I'd like to thank our producer Isaac Abrams, Kristie. Follow the show if you're watching us on YouTube and you want to listen to us in the car. We're on Spotify. We're on iTunes. If you're on Spotify and iTunes, find us on YouTube. The Justin Foster, THE Justin Foster. And thanks, guys.